see the human body as a total organic entity.
Okay, and that's different from the conventional doctor then?
Well, what would I say? If I have to make this distinction or discern between, the approach that I am aware of in the conventional world, is that you go to see a medical doctor, you go to see a conventional doctor, you're diagnosed with a specific condition. The only medium of medicine that we all are aware of that the medical doctor will prescribe is a synthetic product, whether it's for
Yes.
hypertension, whether it's for diabetes, whether it's for cancer, and or any other non-communicable disease. So this is an indication that he perceived the human body to be inorganic, because
Okay.
hence the reason to prescribe inorganic medicine.
I understand. I understand.
So this is something I always bring to the attention of my clients, those who faithfully and dedicatedly support natural healing, because they are aware of that this is faith-bound medicine. It did not evolve from Deja. It has been part and parcel with who we are. So there are persons that are fully conscious and fully aware of this. I am a holistic entity. I am whole.
Okay. Okay.
And I am made up of strictly organic substances. So one of the things I bring to the awareness of my clientele, I would put two columns before them. One would say N and one would say A. N means natural. A means artificial.
Uh-huh.
I'll ask them, under which column do you think this body that you're carrying, and you are listening this evening, this body that you're carrying, we all are carrying, under which column would you think this body would come under? Is it artificial or is it natural? And my beautiful people, I would assume if I've seen 10,000 persons in my lifetime, there's no one that have gotten this answer wrong. Everyone would attest, yes, I'm a natural being because I came from the soil or the dust of the earth, and hence I return. So with the approach that the herbal practitioner, considering that this entity is an organic entity, we go further into the science of this organic entity.
Okay.
And biology, biochemistry teaches us that the only substance that can complement a natural body has to be a substance that is natural. I'll repeat. The only substance that can complement a natural body has to be a natural substance, because your body can only assimilate that of which it is made up of.
That makes
So
sense.
it is impossible for any synthetic product to work in synergy, in harmony, in oneness with an organic entity. Hence, the reason there is no cure for none of the diseases that, sad but true, we have been encountering.
Is because they are trying to treat us organic body with synthetic medicines. Whereas you are saying the herbal practitioner, the herbal physician will treat an organic body with organic substances, natural substances. So that's the first difference you see between the role of the herbal physician, the herbal practitioner, and the conventional medical practice, conventional medical doctor. Okay. Okay. Is there any other differences you see between what? And you also mentioned that the conventional doctor will focus on a specific symptom, a specific disease. How is
Yeah,
that different from what you do?
the understanding of the human body as a natural practitioner, we know without any doubt. We know that the approach cannot be a passive approach. We know that the approach has to be a holistic approach. So rather than observing and suppressing symptoms and recommending surgeries and pharmaceutical drugs.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the root cause of the problem.
Okay.
We look at addressing the root cause of the problem, hence eradicating the problem and adding more empowerment, prevention.
Okay.
So herbal medicines, it's has healing properties therein, and likewise have preventative medicines therein. So we don't look at suppressing symptoms, but rather healing the human body in a holistic manner. You would ask me, what do I mean
Tell me.
by healing? Or
Yes.
what do I mean
Yes. What does healing look like? What do
by
you mean by
prevention?
healing? Mm-hmm.
To consider healing and prevention, there must be a comprehensive approach. There must be a holistic approach. So first, we need to assess. Assessment is very important. In common language, we would say we would have a consultation with the client.
Okay.
Hence, drawing information that can navigate us towards assisting this patient based on the individual perspective, whether it's spiritual, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical.
Okay. So you don't just look at some labs and say, okay, I see this says your pressure is high, or you just came in to have a baby. Because I met a lady very recently within the last week, and she mentioned she's been on hypertensive medicine for the last 10 years plus. She never had any high blood pressure issues. She went to have the baby, and during pregnancy, at the end of the pregnancy, during right maybe a week or so before she was going to give birth, actually no, she said 2 or 3 days before that week, her blood pressure went up, and when she went to have the baby right before that, they gave her blood pressure medicine, and she's been on blood pressure medicines ever since. So you don't just look at that one case and give something. You go into more, say more about that. Explain how that works.
Yes, in detail. For example, we consider three modalities in the whole process of prevention and healing. We cannot divorce food from our health.
Okay.
It is inscribed that let your foods be your medicine. We cannot divorce the use of good nutrition. We look at good nutrition in the sense of fresh foods. You're considering the herbal kingdom as one of the kingdoms that has the most dense mineral environment. Because we know that the reason why we may become vulnerable to illnesses is due to what you call a deficiency or
Yes.
deficient.
Definitely a deficiency.
And we know that with deficiencies, we make our general system vulnerable to illnesses. Hence, we strongly advocate good nutrition.
Okay, so it's more than just looking at the lab. It's looking at everything. So you look at the person's food and nutrition habits. You look more at habits. And you mentioned nutrition, natural food. So that's again organic substances. So I see that as something else you do different. Okay, and healing.
But
healing is something that you're looking for.
it's the ultimate.
Okay.
I normally say it's a win-win equation. You have foods, you have herbal medicines, and you have therapy if needed. And I could enlighten a little bit on what I mean by foods. Foods, we look at foods because they are non-food items that we call foods,
Such as
processed foods. We look at heavily laden foods with preservatives, canned foods, foods that have a shelf life, foods that have what you call an expiry date. These are non-food items. We can consider ice cream. We can consider cheese. I know some people may not be pleasant with what I'm sharing, but the truth of the matter is that they are the culprits are among us. The culprits are amongst us. And we advocate as far and wide as we possibly can to let persons understand that the fresher your foods, it's the better for the body's absorption. We could mention processed meats. these meats that are heavily
Salamis,
laden
you mean salami,
with
corned beef.
yes, especially those industrial meats that are heavily laden with antibiotics and growth hormones. We can mention all these foods that have been increasing the cases of a lot of female disorders, because we know the culprit estrogen is one of the hormones that we know our body produces. We know that synthetic estrogen is being produced to assist with the growth of these very processed foods
Oh
or
wow.
meats that we eat.
Wow, that's big. And having this discussion with you makes me jump back into the research that we worked on together. And we wrote the first book last year on natural plant-based remedies, about why people should move back to natural plant-based herbal medicine for their health and their healing and their well-being. And I remember when we were on that chapter 7, it was so much about food that second book that we end up finishing late last year, that second book, the Herbal Physician Guide to Food and Nutrition, there was so much in there about how food is such that word you use, the culprit to diseases, what we put in our body. So you're saying now that examining all of those things is a key part of what you do, and the role of what a herbal physician, herbal practitioner does in assessing clients to help them towards healing. All that is part of the healing process. Where does it go from there?
Because one of the things that's important is clarity when it comes to one health. We are not making the assumption that, okay, well, the solution to everyone's health is within our lips. But I am certain that the information that we disseminate this evening, it may be a drive, an impetus that people can use to make you curious and make you understand that you are not vulnerable to illnesses. Or we are not vulnerable. I'm not divorced from illness. We are not vulnerable. And with the experience and the wealth of knowledge that has been enforced and we have been blessed with, is sufficient to reverse every single disease that we are suffering from. So I can say without any favor or any fear that the perception that we have that there are no cures for the common disease that we encounter, this is not factual.
So it's a myth.
It's a myth. And the evidence that we have just mentioned nutrition plays a major role. Because in Dominican in particular, we could mention in our sisters and brotherly islands, Jamaica, St. Lucia, we once had a culture and a heritage of eating from the farm to the kitchen. We once have a heritage of drinking the freshest and the best water.
Very
We
true.
once have a heritage of using organic foods and organic medicine.
Very, very true.
Dr.
That's
Lockhart,
true.
interestingly, why would I travel to St. Lucia? Someone I've never met in my lifetime. I would bring to their attention a beautiful herb like blue vervain, scientifically known as Herbina hastata.
Good.
And I would express the benefits of blue vervain to this individual I've never met. And do you know, in many occasions, meeting herbal practitioners like myself, we would share that similar knowledge, that knowledge that makes us who we are as a people, without any interaction prior. And yet still we could have that synergy to understand that this plant, yes, was also used in my community. For most predominantly blue vervain is excellent for hypertension.
Okay. And I want us to really highlight some key herbs in this program. So as we go, definitely. So blue vervain, hypertension, blood pressure issues.
Blood pressure issues, yes. Because highlighting blood pressure issues, it's not an isolated condition where you could say, okay, based on our experience, it is caused by one factor. There are many factors that can cause blood pressure to be abnormal. And I would like to make this very clear. Your blood pressure is a response that your body will indicate to you based on flight and fight.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
absolutely.
the evidence of one blood pressure rises, there are many factors that can create such conditions.
Very true.
Hence, being aware that it's a natural response of your body, it may not be a disease.
for example, the
You,
person I met who that happened for 2 days, 3 days, and then they simply put her on medication. And I this pops in my mind. A family member of mine recently went to the doctor, and her A1C was, I believe, 8 or something, or 7, and that was the very first time she had even gone to that
mm,
doctor,
mm,
and the A1C was high. And she had just come out from a number of parties, and it was Christmas time, cruises, and the last 3, 4 months of her life was really packed with excess. She admitted to me it was packed with excess. She went, and her blood sugar was, according to her A1C numbers,
mhm.
the hemoglobin A1C was elevated. And do you know that at the end of this session, at the end of her doctor's visit, with before the doctor even talked to her about it, the doctor called in a prescription for her for metformin. When she went to the pharmacy to pick up whatever pharmaceutical medicine she normally would take, there was one for her for metformin. So the first time they were ready to put her on metformin, she said,
It's
"But
a
wait a minute, I
medication.
don't take metformin. This is the first. The doctor didn't even discuss it with me." So she refused to take it, and then she just told me a few days ago that she went this 3 months has passed, and she went back, and her A1C was back to normal. It was 5.8 or something like that. And she said, "Look at that. They wanted to put me on that so quickly." And she said, "I've been drinking the this and I've been drinking the that." So I understand what you're saying about like taking time to understand what's going on with people and learning what they do and understanding where they are. But what you're saying is that prevention is one of the key things herbal practitioners push for. So you're saying that everyone can prevent diseases and can be healed from diseases, even those groups of people like we, black, Afro, ethnic people, even those of us who are from that African descent, who they say are predisposed to high blood pressure and diabetes. You saying we all can have healing, we all can see the opportunity to prevent diseases, even those of us who, according to some schools of thought, we automatically should expect to have diabetes and high blood pressure.
Mm.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm
Tell me more
saying.
about that.
Interesting. I would go to the streets right now because you're stimulating my brain cells
Mm.
and scream about and say in the streets there are no incurable diseases. There are no incurable diseases. Every disease known to man have been reversed and is still being reversed. Okay, and it has been done not by us. Those before us have done it, and those before us have done it, and those ahead of us will continue to do it. So yes, the evidence have been proven over and over. And why? Simply because your body has the ability to heal itself. And this is not philosophy. This is the law of life. Your body has the ability to heal itself. But how can my body heal itself? These are the questions that we need to ask. Let's expound a little on hypertension. What are the factors that can cause hypertension? In my experience, one of the key factors that can cause one blood levels to elevate abnormally on and be chronic is clogging of one system. Clogging of the arteries, clogging of the blood vessels would definitely cause the pressure passing through the blood vessels to be high. You would ask, what can clog my arteries? What can clog my vessels?
True, true. What?
What can clog my vessel? We look at cholesterol deposits. We look at cholesterol plaque. We look at calcifications. And all these culprits from the foods that we ingest and even from the drug medications that we take can actually calcify and create a blockage.
Okay.
So, what do we do in a case of a blockage? Rather than treating the symptom of the elevated blood pressure by working against your physiology, why don't we think of unblocking the vessels that have been clogged
That would make sense.
with calcification from cholesterol deposits and fat deposits?
Mm.
How can I unblock
Yes.
this cholesterol and plaque deposits
Yes, how could
in
you?
my arteries or on my arteries? or in my vessels?
Oh.
So these are the questions that we need to address. And dealing with the root cause of the problem, there is a whole chemistry of vessels and nerve endings, that connects. And dealing with the root cause of the problem brings a synergy of holistic healing and equilibrium to the body. We consider detoxification as one of the primary and the most effective ways of cleansing your body and unclogging your body from these so-called contaminants.
Definitely contaminants.
One of the foods and the medicines that we have worked with that I consider to be highly superior, but yet still in our culture, we don't consume it.
What is that? What is that?
The beautiful fruit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fruit and a medicine
Which is?
with a lot of seeds thereof or therein.
Uh-huh.
I speak of the beautiful Carica papaya, better known as pawpaw. Pawpaw is one of the excellent fruits and vegetables that we have. It grows indigenously. It grows in the wild.
Okay, green.
Green papaya is one of the most excellent food and medicine that I work with.
Okay.
A simple application, absorption, or ingesting of the green papaya on a daily basis
Daily.
will help to remove free radicals from your body. It will help to remove toxins from your blood.
Okay.
It will help to unclog your arteries. Why? It is said that the green papaya works like a scavenger.
Oh, I've heard that. I've definitely heard that. I've seen that in the research that I've been doing. Even before we started working on some of these projects, I've definitely seen and heard about green papaya working as a scavenger and eating up toxin and plaque and so forth in the bloodstream and in the vessels, yeah, especially in the arteries.
And even predominantly, the digestive system. The green papaya is filled with enzymes that your body can metabolize. The green papaya can repair. Most persons that are on synthetic drug medication, because it is artificial, you will, not might, you will experience the ill effects of these synthetic drug medications. And one of these ill effects of this drug medication is they deplete the lining of your stomach, or they deplete your mucosa membrane, your mucous membrane. The green papaya is excellent in repairing this membrane. For example, persons with ulcerated stomachs. And interestingly, ulcerated stomachs, ulcerated feet, diabetic ulcers, internally, externally, green papaya is remarkable as a medicine and a food that will, not might, I am speaking from my experience, will bring healing to you. As a diabetic and as a person suffering from hypertension. The method of preparation for the green papaya, the skin, which contains most of what you call the phytonutrients or the phytochemicals. Because in this dispensation, we are hearing about what they call antioxidants, phytonutrients. Phyto means plant nutrients, which the body can identify and utilize in its whole form.
Yes.
The green papaya, you leave the skin on the green papaya.
Okay, wash it well.
I would advise that you get a clean, organic, non-pesticides, non-herbicides, no chemicals have been sprayed on the plant. You utilize the whole fruit, leaving the skin on. The method of preparation, you would grate the green papaya as you would grate coconuts, as fine as you can.
Okay, raw. Grate it.
In the raw stage, you garnish your green papaya nicely. Don't let it be palatable. Let it be attractive. Let your taste buds be activated. So you garnish it nicely. Your celery, your parsley. At times, I even put a few cashew nuts in my green papaya.
Oh, wow.
And I would make it more palatable.
Okay,
and I would add a pinch of sea salt for flavor.
Okay.
And use either coconut oil or olive oil
Okay.
That's optional.
So you make it a nice salad.
I make it a
almost like
nice
a
salad
coleslaw, like a with flavor.
with
Whatever
flavor
flavor you
and
like.
excitement.
I would add pineapples to mine.
Feel free to be creative, but we stick to a regime of being very careful based on food combination. So I will not highlight adding pineapple to the green papaya. But you have this, and I'm not prescribing an amount, but I'm saying to everyone, eat to your content, eat to your desire. There are no side effects, and there are no after ill feelings in consuming the green papaya, but rather you'll feel a sense of lightness, you'll feel a sense of satisfaction, and most importantly, you'll feel the nutritional values of in consuming the green papaya.
So that is something I think I would like to challenge listeners to do for this week. So our program will be every Friday for the next couple of weeks at least during the summer season of at 6:30. And I you know what, I would like to challenge people to try the green papaya at least for this week, between this week and next Friday. And when callers call in, they can tell us what they experienced and how they felt and so forth. So I see what you're saying. You have this holistic approach, and you say everybody can find ways to get towards healing and prevention. So now my question to you is, if that's the case, what is the reason for all these NCDs, those non-communicable diseases across Dominica, across the Caribbean? Because as you know, in our research, in the first book that we wrote last year, the Natural Plant-Based Remedies, one of the things that we found is that the Caribbean region has one of the highest rates of high blood pressure and diabetes, and that people of color, black people, people of Afro descent, especially in our region, tend to have the highest rates of NCDs, high blood pressure, diabetes. So if we have these things here, why this disease is so prevalent? Why are we suffering so much? What's going on?
Interesting question, Dr. Lockhart. Interesting question. That is why up to this present day, even this afternoon, I'm speaking to a client after seeing a medical doctor with hypertension, and the doctor would say, "Oh, there is no cure. We have no cure." So, in the past, I would say, "Well, this is not totally true," but I've come to understand that the doctors are right. The medical conventional doctors are right.
In what way?
When they say to one that there is no cure for hypertension, no cure for diabetes. And I understand that they're right because the medium in which they're using has no cure.
Okay, so in their medium.
In the path in which they're carrying on, there is no cure. So they're right. But that's not the only school of thought.
Okay. In their world, there's no thought. There's no cure.
In the herbal kingdom, in the natural thought of healing, every disease known to man have been reversed. Every disease known to man can be reversed. Because you have so many beautiful mechanisms or systems that makes up the human entity, the human body. Did God, the Almighty Creator, with infinite knowledge, make us so vulnerable? The Almighty, we say that we love with all our dear heart, and He loves His creation. Do you know that He provided for His creation? Look at the birds. Look at the bees. Look at the fishes in the seas. Did He not create it for them and provide it for them? What about us? Is the black race more inferior than the white race? Does the black race has no creator?
True, very true.
Is the black race just roaming the four corners of the world with no direction? Yes, we have direction. Yes, we have a manual.
Absolutely.
We have a manual that was given from the inception of creation.
Across the Bible, it says it.
The scriptures, exactly, that's where I'm coming from. Because without the foundation, the building is fragile.
True.
And the foundation which I stand on, I could attest to you that the Bible was my guide, and the Bible navigated my path to embark upon this journey of natural healing.
Okay.
Because the very book of Genesis, the first book.
Mm-hmm.
It states that the herbs is for your medicine. The herbs is for your foods.
Yes, I know that
The
for
herbs
sure.
with seeds thereof, the fruits with seeds thereof.
Seeds thereof. Absolutely. In Genesis, yes.
It also extends that information in many other books. We could look at the Psalms.
Mm-hmm.
Why it is written that the grass is for the cattle and the herb is for the service of man.
For the service of man. Yes.
Why would
Absolutely.
the prophet Ezekiel say to the population that the fruits on the tree shall be for your foods and the leaves shall be for your
For your
medicine?
medicine. I know that. I know that.
Why would it be written in the book of Revelation in this present time where everything now is so chaotic and so confusing? Why would Revelation reminds us that the herbs are for the healing of the nation, and yet we suffer? We don't take the foundation that have been set for us to keep us healthy and strong, to give us longevity, to give us the endurance, to give us the ability to reverse cancer. Cancer patients, you are not vulnerable. Cancer is not a death sentence. Cancer is an acquired condition, a condition that you can acquire via nutrition, via environmental pollution, via carcinogens. Your body has the ability to fight these carcinogens. We have a wonderful herb in our herbal kingdom. It's a marine plant. It is called Lamaria mycocystis ascophylium.
Which
In
is
simple, common terms, we call it wawet in Dominica.
wawet. What is
In
wawet?
our Creole term, we call it wawet. Wawet, English, we call it kelp.
Kelp. Okay.
Kelp, I have worked with kelp. I have been employing kelp in my practice with my cancer patients, where there is prostate cancer or breast cancer. Kelp is another marvelous herb that we have in our environment. Do you know that kelp contains one of its active compounds therein? It is called sodium alginate. And sodium alginate has been proven to remove as far as radioactive pollutants from your blood.
Wow. Wow.
Kelp is one of the herbs that can prevent breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, cancer of the stomach, leukemia. This herb is not only a herb used when you're sick, but it's a herb you can use as a prevention. Going as far across the four seas, we know that the history and the information is written that the Japanese women, there's a very low case of breast cancer. And why?
They have kelp on a regular
Research have
basis.
shown that they eat what they call sea minerals, sea nutrients, the minerals from the sea.
Yes, and even in their diet with eating the raw fish, they tend to put the marine herbs in there too. That's true. They do that make, and I see that link. And I read a study some time ago about Hippocrates and all of the reversals of diseases. So you've been in this work for over 25 years. So I believe that you having seen some of these reversals is testament. And I've heard the testimony of many of your patients and clients, and you mentioned that word prevention over and over. So, for example, if we were to make kelp a part of our regular routine, and if we would, make some of these things a part of our regular lifestyle, so then the big question I have for you now is how can we now incorporate, even just at the basic level, herbal medicine into the healing and service of the community in a more profound way, in a more specific way. And I know you mentioned trying to fuse it with the primary healthcare system. So now, how can we do that? What are some of the ideas? What do you think we need? Policy, simple things like maybe introducing water in schools, water breaks in school, or introducing kelp in local communities. What can be done? What is your vision for that?
I believe education is one of the focal points to bring the information about, and most importantly, the narrative that have been propagated over the years. This is what we need to debunk. For example, look at a plant, a natural plant. the cannabis plant, the king of the forest. Do you know that right now, as part and parcel with the committee of the cannabis committee, part and parcel with the cannabis committee, we had a 2-day symposium. That
Okay.
was on Wednesday and Thursday this week.
Okay. So you were part of a committee that it's part of the whole
That
government
advocating
measure.
for the new legislation and reform of medical cannabis.
So
Cannabis used for medicine.
okay, so that means herbs are being recognized. Cannabis is a herb. It's being recognized as beneficial and helpful and having a strong role in our system in as medicine and even as a greater part in maybe the economy and more. So herbs are being recognized. Herbal medicine, starting with cannabis, yes. Okay.
Herbs are being recognized, but herbs are being devalued on many, many, many levels. For example, herbs have been tarnished. The narrative of herbal medicines have been tarnished by using statements of toxicity, or using statements of you don't know what amount of the
But the
dosage,
dosage,
you don't know what quantity of humanity to eradicate fatal conditions like cancer. The cannabis plant, my beautiful people, after we have been getting so much negative narratives in this present era, we are hearing it is a plant given by the Most High. It's a blessing to humanity.
absolutely.
Why? Because science has now rediscover that there are what you call cannabinoids.
Endocannabinoids.
These are the compounds there in the cannabis plant that give it that the properties of healing, and more profound information has revealed that every single human being, we have a system called the endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is a system to bring about homeostasis, balance to this human entity that can help to rejuvenate and elevate and strengthen your immune system, working in synergy with your kidneys, your liver, your optic nerves, your heart, and your lungs. And the scientific or empirical evidence is overwhelming. Cannabis
Definitely.
plant can be employed in a cancer patient suffering from insomnia, suffering from metastasis, tumors, inflammation. It's a natural analgesic. It's a natural. Oh, how would I put it? Psychoactive regulator. It's a neuroregulator, meaning that it helps with neurological problems.
Yes.
For example, looking at Parkinson's diseases, looking at epilepsy, the cannabis plant. My beautiful people, once upon a time, we were given
Jail
the
sentence.
narrative that this plant, it can tarnish your life, it can destroy your life. This present era, I'm here to tell you that this plant, the reversal have said that this plant can give you more life.
That is so true. And I was just reading a research report from University of Colorado in Boulder, where they do a lot of research on cannabis and cannabinoids and the endocannabinoid system. That whereas we were told that the cannabis was a gateway drug, now they're using it to help people get off other drugs. So that is definitely a reversal. And I know people maybe want to call in and ask you a few questions. You mentioned blue vervain as a key herb and green papaya, and you mentioned kelp. Is there any other herbs you want to really highlight? Because one of the things that we want to do as we do this program over the summer is highlight a few herbs that every Dominican should know. So, but I guess let's see if we have any calls.
Yes. So
We can open up the lines to calls now. What's the number? It's 235 on WhatsApp. So on WhatsApp will be 235-3095, and on the air would be 449-3095. If anyone has questions or wants clarification, or 449-3096. But I want you to tell us a little bit more about how you see the next step. What can we now do now that we have the evidence, for example, of cannabis, and of course other herbs. You mentioned kelp, and I know Jamaica has done a lot of research with kojo root. Now that we've seen so much evidence with natural plants-based medicines and remedies, wow, what do we do next to move to use these herbal medicines to help us to bring prevention and healing, even right here in Dominica?
definitely be the evidence that is so overwhelming that hypertension is a pandemic, diabetes is a pandemic, and it only means that it's widely spread and out of control. That's the evidence that we are faced with today. Considering a plant like cannabis, it is not in isolation from the plant called kojo root, scientifically known as Petiveria allicea. Kojo root is another important plant that we have worked with personally, and we have found out empirical knowledge that the kojo root plant contains phytochemicals. For example, you have one by the name of it's called diabenzyl trisulfate.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been proven to destroy malignant tumors. Right now in Jamaica, this plant is being cultivated to extract these compounds, to create medicines for persons suffering from prostate cancer, breast cancer. Do you know that this very Petiveria allicea, which we commonly known as by many names, strongman bush, kojo root, gully root, garlic weed,
Mm.
go to the riversides. It's planted on the highways, on the byways. I have visited certain villages. It's on the side of the streets. What do? They chop
Cut
it,
it.
they cut it, and they just dispose of the herb. And this herb right now, it's at the top of the list in science right now as a cure, as a medium of healing for fatal conditions as far as prostate cancer, breast cancer. And we are sitting on this treasure trove of wealth of information. And we are sitting on a herbarium with vital, nutritious, and such rich diversity of medicinal plants. And we are having a fight, Dr. Lockhart, a fight to see that the authorities thereof give a listening ear to the herbal practitioner. We are at a fusion to bring across the evidence that herbs have been healing, herbs have healed. And I'm not claiming to take the benefit of the glory from the glory of the herbal healing kingdom, because it is established and has already been ordained to contain healing properties. I am only a medium to bring across this medium to those that seek this medium.
Okay, okay. And I believe we have a call. So let's.
Very, very inspiring program. Thank you so much for teaching us. But I was wondering, which way is it? Is it that the Dominica Cancer Society have not reached out to the Herbal Society, to the herbal guys like you, Mr. Deja, and your host, your co-host? Or it's the other way around? Why would you not offer your services to the Dominica Cancer Society? Why would we look at our brothers and sisters suffer and die one by one, and knowing that we could have help them. I mean, I like to step on toes, and I was wondering if we could discuss this, because it's like we must assist, we must help our brothers and sisters. But we know there's always a fee to it, which one has no objection at all. I mean, every time you see one died from the big sea, and didn't they get help from the herbal experts? Thank you, guys. Take care.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. We
Thank,
appreciate you. Thank you.
thank you so much for that question. And I want to start with the answer, and then I'll glean over to Mr. Deja. And one thing that I myself have encountered in approaching different societies, not particularly the Dominica Cancer Society, but different societies in different countries and here, different organizations here. Typically, we come across red tape, and they will say, "Well, we can't talk to you directly, or you need to go talk to the Ministry of Health, or you need to go. There's some forms to be filled out at the health department, or the oh, you have to talk to the person in charge of the hospital. There's always something in the middle, that there's always a middleman to push you back. And so far, we haven't found those synergies. But I want Mr. Deja to expand a little more on his particular experience with that. So that has been my experience so far. Red tape and finding the right links, and that slows down the process, and it pushes you off. It's like, no, you can't talk to us, you have to go talk to the minister. We can't talk to you. It has to go through a protocol. It has to go through the ministry. It has to go through the department of this, the that. It has to go through the head of the hospital, or the chief of surgery, the chief of the medicine, a lot of different things. That's been my experience so far. So red tape and ways to question, what are you doing? Who should you talk to? So that has been one hindrance. And what about you? What has been your experience?
I've considered myself to be a voice for the voiceless. I've considered myself to be a comfort to those in pain and suffering. I have endeavored to bring across the evidence that we have worked with on the ground to those who are in authority, but it has been futile. It has not been successful. And I came to understanding that we have been so indoctrinated that your own brother and sister, your own resources, we look at our own resources as inferior. And those that are outside of who we are, they have the superior, when we're speaking of medicines, the medicines are more superior than ours. I've observed that the brainwash education is the paramount blockage that can bring about the synergy or the merging of our natural practitioners versus, in collaboration with our medical doctors, to see the need to collaborate for one specific reason, for the betterment of the patient. So I'm saying that herbal medicine have not been accepted by our primary healthcare system. Herbal medicine have not been acknowledged by our Ministry of Health. I speak to you on my own energy, on my own behalf. As a herbal practitioner, we have reverse cancer, yes. We have reverse diabetes. We have reverse hypertension. And we, in the forefront, is the medicinal herbs have reversed these conditions. Yes. Do you know that we are not considered to be a healthcare practitioner? Do you know that we are not considered to be a therapeutical practitioner? And this is the error that we need to address and bring some clarity towards the medium that have been proven over and over to have the properties that the body can work in synergy. And to see a dying patient, I've seen it many times, a vulnerable patient that was told that they're going to die in 3 weeks. Seeing that patient half dead just because of the psychological impact of this patient, knowing that there is no hope, this already shatters the patient. And I've seen through consultation telling patient that no, cancer is not a death sentence. You can reverse cancer. Why? Because the creator that gave you this beautiful, marvelous body has given you the mechanisms for the body to heal itself. But we need to complement these mechanisms. And the creator himself have ordained that the herb shall be used in the complementary process of the body healing itself. So as long as we cannot identify the herbal kingdom for what it is, it'll be difficult to come across those that are in authority, especially the advantage of this so-called foreign investors.
Okay. So we have a blockade there. We need to find ways to link with the authorities. And I believe we have another caller on the line.
Hi, good night, ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you for calling, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to support Mr. Deja on his topic tonight, on his health topic. I just want to tell him it's a continual work. It's not going to be easy to break through because we have known the damage that happened to us as a race, a black race. It's going to take a lot of work, and it might give him some real depression sometimes because it's hard to get our people to the knowledge. Because Marcus Garvey have said, I'm a man that do small medicine, natural medicine, but I think we need to get into the right environment in togetherness. I think a lot of herbalists on the island need to come more together in a bigger force at the right time. I respect his show tonight on a Friday night, but sometimes you have to choose the right time when you have more listening people, even the people at the head, like the government, like on a Sunday afternoon, a Sunday during the day when everybody is home, listening. And I think we need to come together to form an association. We have the market there in Roseau. The independent time is coming up. I think we all need to form a bigger association, one alliance. That's what's going to make the movement stronger. And I want to tell him, congratulating him, because medicine is a very important thing, and more natural medicine you use is better than the food. And I want to congratulate him. But just think about it, link up with the other herbalists, form a bigger alliance, a bigger movement, because that's how you're going to get this system to work. If one musician couldn't make it big in Jamaica, like any other part of the world, it takes different people. Good night.
Absolutely correct.
Thank you. Appreciate, brother. Appreciate. And persons like you, definitely, we need your support, and we need to hear your voice, because we all have an opinion, and we all should feel liberated and free to share opinions, because this is not an isolated case. This is not an isolated mission.
So we definitely have to come together, and we will find ways to continue to do that. And we have another caller. Go ahead, please.
Sorry for being a pain, but you see what Ron is saying, Mr. Deja. You have to develop what you call the Dominica Alternative Medicine Society Limited, and you see that word they call respect. You have to demand your respect from the authorities. They have to put it in Parliament and have a bill to recognize the Dominica Alternative Medicine Society Limited. You must join forces with Bobby. You guys cannot be fragmented. Ronnie has to be on board. Everybody has to be on board. And you know another area? I'm going through Facebook. They have this section called Reels. And every time they talk to you about your eyes or your prostate or any other area of your body that needs attention, they give you testimonies. The public wants testimonies. Yes, Mr. Dejan will prove and show the public 50 to 100 testimonies of people who he cured of diabetes and hypertension. Where's the testimonies of all those who were cured from cancer? The public wants to be convinced. We, the public, want to hear and see the testimonies so that you can develop and stop remaining fragmented and crying in the wilderness. I wouldn't trouble you again, guys, because my heart is close to alternative medicine. Well, you see, my brother Bobby, he's my brother-in-law, and I respect that guy. He saved my life. He saved my life. He taught me what were the bad foods I was eating. It put me in hospital twice, clogging up my arteries when I had angina, heart pain, and all that. And I'm on not one pill, not one piece of medicine for 4.5 years now. Not one Avastatin, not one painkiller, not one aspirin. And the Chinese doctor in the hospital told me, you see, I'm giving you my testimony of Brother Bobby. He told me, Peter, food, change your food, change your what you're putting in your body. And that's what I did. And this Chinese cardiologist in the hospital told me in my face at Imre Ward, he gave me a death sentence. He told me I have heart disease. I say, really? I will show you. 5 years later, I'm still here.
Wow.
I'm
So
not
you
in
conquered.
perfect health, but I want us to respect the Alternative Medicine Society Limited. Have a good evening, folks.
Thank you.
We appreciate the contribution.
Yes, and we welcome that idea, and it's something we're going to move on. We welcome definitely that idea, and it's something we're actually going to build on. So let's take another caller before we try to wrap up soon. Go ahead, you're on the line.
Good evening, the fireman touching base. Good evening to the brother, great program, and good evening to the sister. Good evening, I don't say Dominica, I say Rivanica.
Good evening.
My Lord, you have a good program. And that is my kind of energy, so I have to really bring in my little 2 cents. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But really and truly, now, my Lord, as I've already said, first thing I have to say, you see when you bring the slaves and the plantation, right? And you give them your concept, your philosophy, your way of life, and your food, that's a problem already. Because when they go and live in the slaves, they bring the food. Well, as you say, right now in a new era, we get wise, we get bright, we get more intelligent, in other words. You know what I'm saying? But really and truly, as you say, as far as I know, I don't even know about Dr. Sebi. That is a man I honor and I respect. That man care all sickness he have. No doctor never do that. That man believes in the world. You know what I'm saying? Now, really and truly, as you say, is what you eating is the biggest problem. Now, when you program, as I tell you, and you don't realize yourself, you have to find yourself, know your value, know your purpose. Is what you eating, in other words, you're taking up poison and put in your body. Is starch and blood. Is precursor of the foods people eating well and truly. As you say earlier on, if you're eating the food from the soil to your pot, you're eating alkaline food, the most of alkaline body. Right now it's acidic blood, as I tell you, blood and starch. So obviously the people eating sickness now. Your project you have there well and truly. For me personally, I would like you to mix up with these people here because there are certain people themselves that cannot use herbal medicine. And not all herbs that do all different people. And the way as I tell you, people eating certain herbs cannot be, you have to go in the herbs for a certain while. So based on your project, what I would like to see, if it's government or there are a lot of Rivanica people that have a lot of money who live in overseas, they're full of money, they have the paper. You know what I'm saying? So they don't really help one way or the other. They could create something different out of the hospital category, in other words, and create something more natural. Because as you say, there is no way in life, no matter where in the world, no hospital, no government will never follow that project. Tell the whole fireman say that. You know what I'm telling you?
Thank you,
So
sir.
your project is a great project because it's light. Because a lot of people say, as you say, they live in fear. Before they even meet the doctor, they die already because of how they live.
Very
But
true.
good program. I can say a million things, but I'm listening, my Lord. Great program. Keep on burning the fire, as I tell you. Dr. Sebi is a man that cure all different sickness in the world. And he said, listen to Dr. Segi. We black people will be up and running in living colors. Keep the fire blazing, up and running, fireman rolling, bless up.
Thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Definitely, what you're saying is education is needed. Definitely.
And the evidence that the caller mentioned that we need to bring forth more evidence base. The evidence is so overwhelming. Mr. Deja is only 47. And this modality was in existence from, the inception of our existence. Herbal medicine is not new. And just for interaction with the caller, you can call again. The name or the term you use was what I was introduced to, alternative medicine. Alternative medicine, looking at the definition of alternative medicine, it contradicts what herbal medicine really represents. So I say to you, herbal medicine is the authentic medicine. We have altered from the authentic medicine into conventional, synthetic, or allopathic medicine, and this is the alternative medicine. Sad but true, we have been indoctrinated to think as black people, as indigenous people, that what we have is inferior. We have been told that the foods that we have is not sufficient for well-being or longevity. But hear this, just like cannabis was tarnished as a demon, as a monster, as a gateway drug, and today it is one of the most superior drugs given to us by the Creator that comes from the Garden of Eden. We can mention our coconut oil.
Yes.
Our coconut oil was also tarnished and destroyed. We were told our coconut oil is filled with what they call bad fats, bad cholesterol. It will clog your arteries. It will cause heart problems. It will cause cardiac problems. It will cause high blood pressure. It will cause strokes. Today, 40 years after, we are hearing the coconut oil is one of the most superior oils in the world, and it will not do what it was claimed that it would do.
Absolutely right.
So we have the evidence of the superior kingdom of the plants, the foods that the Almighty Himself has blessed us with to be of nourishment and service to this human entity. We have everything that we need as a people, as a nation. And now, the evidence of false narratives, tarnishing, destroying our industries, we have the evidence of the reversal of these things. So let's ask ourselves a question.
And we have investigations, because there were investigations on what happened with the coconut oil industry. And we saw that it was the sugar industry that ran research projects to systematically and literally bring down coconut oil.
Suppress
to
also our
suppress
economy,
the economy, to suppress that
the
industry,
people.
to push their research, to push different products. And now the evidence is there, the research is there, the empirical data is there to show that in fact coconut oil is even better for you. So that's a good example of how we move away from what we have as our natural options.
Some saying to us, Dr. Lockhart, why continuously we have to be taught when we need to be teachers? Why continuously are we depending on the very structures that have created our demise? The very structures that created our demise, we depend on them for our foods and we depend on them for our medicines. Why?
And it's just what we've been brainwashed, we've been taught. So I think we have another call. Let's take that caller.
Yes, Mr. Deja, good night again. I just wanted to touch on a point you said. The researcher there, as Mr. Karam saying, if you just look at even our lifestyle 60, 70 years ago, like Mr. Deja's grandfather and his great-great-grandfather, in your village, you wasn't born yet, but it maybe 2-3 people would die for the entire year in a community 70 years ago. And it's because of their lifestyle. They would drink spring water. They would bathe in the morning before they get up to the gardens. They wouldn't bathe after from the gardens because they'll get pneumonia and cold. And if the naturality they was doing, they would cook every day on the farm. When they go up, I would work in groups in harmony with nature and themselves. They was working together. They wasn't working by themselves, like staying on the farm alone. They would go up and work One man would be cooking, taking care of the workers, and they would be in harmony. When you see they come home, they would sit together on the roadside and discuss. Later, you can just go to Costa Rica and look at the lifestyle of the people in Costa Rica. They live up to 113 years, 14 years, and they don't get dementia, they don't get senile. That's as Peter Karam was saying there. Just Costa Rica in the Caribbean there, Guyana, and all what they eat is what they grows.
That's it.
And they just, like what Mr. Peter Karam said, we have to come together for us to get recognized. We have to just come one day and put an announcement. We're going to meet there. We're going to get organized. We're going to get an association put together, because that is a big business that could market Dominica.
Yes,
I think Kay is doing well in St. Lucia today. I think he have a retreat and he's doing well. He could market, because just between Guadeloupe and Martinique, we have a high rate of men suffer with prostate cancer. Martinique, Guadeloupe, even the land cannot grow food. So it's we, as Peter Karam saying there, look, we have the elders there, you have Bobby, you have Sister Nat, excellent people, Miss Winston.
Yes.
It's just us to pull ourselves together. How about that?
Absolutely.
Lord.
And
That's why the education is an integral part of the mission that we're on. Because we are on a mission for the interests of our people, for the health of our people. I mean, economics is part and parcel with sustainability, but we're looking at the human resource to enforce that the human resource stay healthy and strong, that we have a vibrant next generation, and a next generation that will not be enslaved psychologically to disease.
that is it.
We want a next generation that is empowered, that would not feel vulnerable when one say that you have hypertension. Oh, I have hypertension. I know what to do to eradicate hypertension. So in closing, I applaud that those that have sacrificed their hour to listen to the message that we brought about this evening, and be assured and be aware that the message does not belong to an individual or group. It belongs to the human family, and you are part of the human family. So don't isolate yourself from the message, but rather seek and you shall find. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to be ill from illnesses for decades. You can be healed. And the healing has been there, and that's ordained, and the Most High, most of all, have created for His creation. Thank you for
Absolutely.
your
Thank you.
attendance.
Thank
And
you
Dr.
so
Lockett,
much.
any last words?
My last word is simply to say thank you so much for sharing and for collaborating with me on this project of health and healing, because my focus is on community development and community building. So this is the pillar, the building block for us to build Dominica as a community, a sustainable community with strong people, strong communities. And we will take into consideration what the callers say. We will move forward with policy and with groupings and coming together and moving forward. And I challenge everyone to try the green papaya and to increase their water intake to at least 2.5 liters per day, 90 ounces minimum. Everybody this week, between this Friday and next Friday, let us start to do things together. I thank you for listening. I thank you for being open. And we look forward to seeing you again next Friday at 6:30, same place, same time. Q95, 6:30 p.m. next Friday for the Health and Healing Hour. Thank you so much.
Bye.
On cue, right on cue. Right on cue.